I know I have spread some confusion in the past few updates. Now, I should go ahead and tell you guys the real thing and hopefully stop this confusion. I was kind of in a rush and I was spreading a little confusion, so hopefully this will explain everything. Alright, let's get this out now. Yesterday, on July 2nd, 2025, don't know the exact day, or exact time, it could be earlier, but I'm gonna say 1:15 p.m. My mother has officially passed on. She was 60 years old, born in South Chile at January 1st, 1965. She was my mother. And I was with my brother about the devastating news. This all happened many years ago. Starting in 2019, she has gone through the hospital approximately 3 times. Let's start with 2019. In 2019, she had to go and take care of a little kid, a boy, which I think, if my memory serves me right, it was 2 years old. And she has to go to the house. The house was on stilts because it was next to the lake. The house has to be on stilts in case of flooding from the lake. And all the other houses were like that as well. Now, it's a 2-story house, meaning this first floor and a second floor. She has to stay on the first floor just to make sure if the young kid starts crying. The thing is, the bedroom is at the second floor. She's at the first floor. And taking care of a young kid needs way more attention than she thought it was originally going to be. So what that means, she has to go up and down the stairs so many times. And I mean a lot, because the child needs way more attention. And thus it happened. It was too much for her respiratory system to handle. She got into a heart attack, and her respiratory system started failing. She had to call for an ambulance to take her to the hospital as fast as possible. Luckily they arrived, they took her to the hospital, took her to the ICU, cleared everything up, and after a few days, she eventually started breathing again, and she was able to do things on her own again. Man, that was very scary, how all that happened. And then, here's the next episode that happened. In 2022, my mom was at her aunt's house. My aunt's house, which is technically also her sister's house. They were having a little talk about the usual things, and then she had to go to the bathroom. But she was not feeling good. She was feeling so much pain in her brain, she doesn't know what's happening. It could be a major headache. Somehow she started vomiting. And she asked my aunt to call for an ambulance as well, because something is not right with her. She's still feeling pain. She's not feeling good. So, ambulance went, took her to the hospital, and I don't know what was the cause. I feel like it was some sort of a TMA, which in other cases is a mini stroke. Like one side of her face was semi-paralyzed. I don't know if it was really a mini stroke, but it feels like it was a mini stroke. I don't know if it was, but it was kind of like that. It took major amounts of recovery for her to finally snap out of it and finally get healed enough. Again to the ICU, and then also to an MRI, just to make sure that there was no damage to the brain. And luckily the test shows her clear, and thus my mom was saved. So that's only the second time. And now, the third time. And it will be the last time. And this is the one that really happened. And it would totally end her completely. It happened recently on, I don't know if it was on a Friday, but it was on a Saturday. But either that. At 3:05 in the morning, 3 in the morning, my mother somehow, somewhere in June, on a, I think it was on, oh god, let me see. It has to be, okay, either 13th of Friday or the September the 14th. It's one of those. On 3 in the morning, my mom somehow started tingling in her hands, which that did happen a couple of days prior to that, but on that day it was starting to tingle, feeling some bit of numbness on the hands. And then she started to feel, after that, very disconscious, feeling a lot dizzy. She was bound to lose her balance. She had to sit down, and thus she was sitting down. And then somehow she was also like slurring her words. She can't even say the words correctly. And then tragedy struck. She then developed pulmonary edema, which, for all of you who don't know, a pulmonary edema is where the fluids from your body start to enter the lungs. And that's why she was slurring her words. Fluid was getting into her lungs for pulmonary edema. But of course I didn't know it was pulmonary edema, obviously because I'm not a doctor. I didn't know that. I thought it was just another case of a mini stroke. So I call the emergency service, telling what's going on, and I obviously call for an ambulance. In case if it is a stroke, or a mini stroke, my mom has to at least smile, and she did perfectly. The online personnel also told me to have my mom stretch her arms out like this, make sure they're perfectly straight. There are, that's good. And then the ultimate one is for my mom to say the early bird catches the worm. She failed to do it. So clearly something's not right with her. She might be a stroke. So they eventually got into her. She came, luckily the doctors from the ambulance came to the house, got her into the ambulance, and back to the hospital. But before they got into the ICU, my mom somehow died. But then the doctors then did CPR, and somehow they brought her back to life. Talk about a close call, I know. And they got everything into the ICU, making sure the treatment's good. Hopefully in a few days, everything will be over. And that seems to be good. However, they noticed that things are taking them a lot longer than they expected. And some of the treatments they're doing somehow just went back to square one. It's taking them a lot longer. The doctors have no idea what's taking her so long. Luckily, my brother had flew from North Carolina back here to see the problem. And then, as 1 week had passed, the doctors had given us devastating news, saying that my mother is diagnosed with pulmonary edema, and saying that she may not be able to survive much longer. And the doctor has given my brother and I two options. Either A, take all the tubes out and let her be on her own, or B, take extreme drastic measures with surgery, because she also must have had brain damage. Like, part of the brain is also a little bit damaged because not enough oxygen is in that part of the brain. So it might be damaged. So they can either do that with surgery, but even then, the chance of her surviving is near zero. It was a tough decision. Very tough. And both my brother and I had decided to just go for the first option. The damage is done. And at this point, nothing can be done in reason to save my mother. So, the day after that, I... No. My mom was sent to a hospice where she can finally rest the rest of her life. I eventually visited on June 22nd to give my last and final goodbye to my mother. But my aunt will visit her most of the time because, well, my aunt is her sister. So got that going. And then, after days have gone by, and just hoping she'll be okay, July 2nd, 2025, she passed away. It was very sad, I know, but nothing can be done. It was very sad. Now, it's time I be on my own. I can take care of myself, and I would like to thank you all for at least helping me out. I know I can rely on you guys. Y'all guys are very helpful. And at this point, I'm very grateful. I would like to thank my mother for the first 25 years of my life since birth. I turned 25 a couple months ago in April. And now, I would like to thank Mom. And I love her very much. She was a special guardian of me. But now, it's now time I'd be on my own. For the loss of my mom, I promise to do everything on my own. Thank you very much for taking this time, and I hope all you understand the loss of my mother. It's very tragic, but it had to be done. Thank you very much for all this, and I know most of you feel sad about me losing a family member, but I'm pretty sure I'll get through this, even if it's harsh. I will proceed in my life. Thank you very much.